There we go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to, we're from all kinds of places today. We're coming to you live from the Jumping Instructors Network, from the Dressage Instructors Network, from How to Market Your Horse Business, from Jay Duke's EcoVault, from Laura Kelland-May. So we're live streaming everywhere. And we're excited to announce today that, you know, the biggest thing with most of us who are in the horse industry is being able to be seen by other people. So the question for you today is, are you seen or can you be seen? And we brought a special guest in today, Brenda Mueller, who will be introducing you to more later. But I'd like to introduce you to two of my co-hosts that many of you already know. We have Laura Kelland-May, if you could raise your hand,
Hi
Laura.
there.
She's the one of the co-hosts for the Rider Position Fix It show, a very popular show we're doing on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My other co-host is Jay Duke. And Jay Duke has the Jay Duke Show on Monday evenings at 7:30. All right, Laura.
Yes, hi there. Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank Randi very much. I just want to explain to everybody that Randi has been coaching and certifying riding instructors for over 25 years, and she's a horse industry legal consultant and expert witness and the founder of Jumping Instructors Network. Thank you so much, Randi, for putting all this together. I'm looking down here to look at you, but I guess I should be looking up at my camera. Yes, and Jay Duke is Canadian equestrian team member, EC course designer, senior, and host of the Jay Duke Show.
Now,
And
you
of
know,
course,
nobody knows what EC means, right?
Equestrian Canada.
There we go. Yay,
Equestrian
Canada.
Canada senior judge. And of course, we have Brenda here today, and we've got some excellent things we're going to be working out today. How are we going to get this started, Randi?
Well, let's get started. You want to tell us a little bit about Brenda?
I'd love to, but I'm going to leave that to you because I don't have anything written down here for about Brenda.
Oh, cool. Well, we're going to let Brenda tell us a little bit more about herself. But I met Brenda through an associate of ours that's been on our show, and that's Diane Carney, who's very well known in the equestrian world. And she said, you've got to talk to Brenda and bring her in to talk to people about marketing. And as I talk more about Brenda, you've done a lot of things, like you're working with a lot of the young riders now, teaching them how to use social media, press releases, and everything. Can you tell us more about your background in media and what you're doing to make a difference for horse people at this time?
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for having me today. I'm really excited to be here. I've been in the horse business for over 35 years. So I started in the trenches, owning a farm, teaching riding lessons, having a riding school, being a professional rider, and then showing at National A and all the finals, horse shows, and hunter jumpers. So I understand the market really well and understand what they need and what is being asked of people and what instructors need from marketing to help their businesses grow. So with that, I decided to not want to ride 12 horses a day anymore. And I have a degree in business management and professional communication. So my mother was very happy when I decided to actually use my college education for marketing. And so that's how Chicago Equestrian Marketing for Equestrians came to be. I started locally just in the Chicago area, and now I'm national and have expanded. So what I try to do for clients is to educate them about all these electronic forms that keep changing by the day, as we all know, how to use their social media, young riders moving up and looking to start their own businesses or getting sponsors and riding and trying to be on teams, how to handle social media, how to handle interviews, how to handle press articles and press releases, and basically just how to navigate through the media that there is today, because there is so much of it out there. And you know, way back in times, you waited at the mailbox for the Chronicle of the Horse to come to find out who won everything, because that was the form of communication. I mean, now you already know who won the Grand Prix the second they go through the timers, and it's on social media. So that stuff being out there and out there forever is something that I think the young crowd really needs to think about as they're growing in their careers and moving up into being instructors and barn owners and running their own businesses. So that's how this came to be, and figuring out ways to make it easy for barn owners and instructors to market while they're doing the 50 million other things that they're doing. Because we all know we'd all rather be on the back of a horse than working on your marketing plan. So that's where I come in.
I think you're exactly right on that. You know, as horse people, we're so involved. We're so lucky. We're so lucky to be able to do what we do as a business, as a dream, as a fantasy, because how many people get to live their dreams? But in order for us to survive, we need to become visible for the people who are looking for us. Otherwise, how are we going to stay in the horse business, right, folks?
Yeah, that's right.
So it all begins with, well, what are you going to do? We're going to go into this next topic you were talking about, Brenda, that we had discussed. And that is, well, what does the normal person who's out there, you know, because basically a lot of horse people are struggling when it comes to marketing. They don't know what they don't know. And they know it's a lot of time, right?
Exactly.
So what should we start with what we're talking about? We're talking about first, they need to be able to create their brand. What makes you as a business owner stand out over all of your competitors?
I'd also like to know what exactly it means by brand. Like, what does a brand mean? Does it mean do you wear purple shirt or with a crest on it, or what does it mean to have your own brand?
Well, I think it's kind of all of those things. I think the brand, when you think about brand products like Adidas or Nike or Coca-Cola, a vision comes to your mind of what those represent. You know, what sports stars are sponsored by Adidas, and when you pick up a can of Coke, you always know it's red, and you always know what it's going to taste like, and you know that it has different flavors mixed in. So they've built their brands through decades. If you're just starting your brand, it really is the sum of everything that people think of you. So who are you? What do you want to brand? And some of those ideas are, you know, what do you stand for? Do you volunteer for a lot of charity work? What is your barn? And branding can take form in a lot of different ways, from your social media to press releases to the clothing you wear. All of that is part of your brand. So,
and your reputation. Don't you agree with that?
Absolutely. Your reputation, your resume, your track record,
right.
All of that. It's basically, who are you? What do you represent? And how would people recognize you, or what would they think when they recognized you?
Right, when they hear your name.
And I think the brand is sometimes a hard place to start, but I think it's important because your brand image is what you want to keep consistent through all the other parts of the media. So whether you're social media, or whether you're doing product branding, or you're getting sponsors, or any of those things, I think you have to know who you are and what you represent and what is your message. And that becomes really important later on when we start to do interviews. So let's just take a look at this next slide I have here, for example.
Okay, so you're going to have to share your screen then, Brenda, because we don't have it here.
Oh, should be up.
So go to share screen.
So as part of our marketing, as you hear them discussing this, is we're finding new ways to reach out to people. And this is something you can do too. This is a platform called StreamYard, where you can actually do a Facebook Live to your face and talk to things. And as you've noticed, we're taking you with us on our journey.
Can you see it now?
And we're sharing everything we're doing with you so you can see what you're doing. Did you find it yet?
I did. Is it up?
No.
Almost. I don't see it on the bottom yet, so it's not in the list.
So you got to do the share screen, and then we'll get it into our stream here.
So a lot of people during this pandemic, they just haven't known what to be able to do, because what do you do when everything's going on? The thing you can do is reach out to the people. All right, so I think that's the second slide. Is there one before this that you can get to, Laura?
This is branding.
No, this is the one where we're talking about some images of branding. Yeah,
right,
there we go.
This has got four images.
Perfect. So if you take a look at these 4 images, okay, this is all one rider. This is Kent Farrington. You know, look at the top left. These are actual images off of his social media and Instagram page. So, you know, he's doing a good job, or whoever's doing it for him is doing a good job of image branding. So when you see these photos, some of the things that come to mind would be what? Rio 2016. Oh, Olympics. Okay, successful. Look at the photo with the trophy, Rolex. He's successful. Look at him handing a ribbon to the kids in the audience, or that he donated his Central Park prize money to the hurricane relief. He's generous. He gives back to the community. These are things I'm talking about when I say it's talking about your brand. What makes you? What makes Kent Farrington Kent Farrington? And these are some examples of that.
So that's his brand.
That's
That's
his
how
brand.
it stands out.
All right.
You'll
so how
notice
do
in
you
all
know-
of the pictures too, he's formal attired. He's always turned out really well. He doesn't have pictures of him, you know, in dirty jeans and a baseball cap back at the barn. This is his image that he wants to portray.
All right. So how does the normal instructor that's out there, or average instructor, how do they go about starting to create their brand to separate them from the other competitors?
That's a really great question. I think you need to think about yourself and think of, what are my specialties? What am I really good at? And what are the things that I really want to do more of? So, are you good at teaching riding school lessons? Are you good at handling young horses? Are you good at giving clinics like Jay Duke or Diane Carney, any of those? How do other people see you? And it has to be authentic and it has to be believable. For example, if you're a person and you say, I'm very generous and I give back to charity, and someone says, well, what charities do you donate to? Oh, well, I don't have a charity. Well, that makes it not very believable. So it has to be realistic. So start with your perception of yourself and how you want others to see you. What brand do you want? And what do you want people to think of when they hear your name? Successful with young horses. Oh, yeah, she has great young horses. She's done a great job. Or, oh, my gosh, she runs the most amazing riding school ever. So think of that when you're first starting about your brand. Then off of that brand, once you have an image, comes all the other things, your logo, your website, your social media. These are all the things you're building around your brand. I'm obviously marketing for equestrians, and I have logo wear, and I have hats and mugs, coffee mugs, and all kinds of things that I can take with me to go places. Or when I would set up my tack room, all my tack trunks would have my barn name on, and all the colors would match. And that's a brand. How people set up their tack rooms at horse shows. That's all a little bit about a brand. It's basically how you want to be portrayed and how you portray yourself to others.
Brenda, that's great advice. I wish I'd met you 30 years ago, because working, as when you're growing up and stuff, of course you're out there and you're spending the time training and you're working on yourself, working on your horses, and it's 18 hours a day and you're riding 15 horses a day, and that's what everything goes into. So this business, the toughest part about it is how many different hats you need to wear.
Exactly.
You have to try to do 10 different things, and it leads to burnout. It leads to failure. And so what you're saying there is find what you're really passionate about, find what you love, find your niche, find what you're good at, and go with it and perfect it. And that is the amazing advice. And I think that's the case for any business is, as so many horse trainers in business today are trying to do so many things. They're trying to start beginners, and they're trying to do show horses, and they're trying to do sale horses. And you can do that if you're going to work with a group of other professionals. But if you're going to work on your own, that's very, very challenging to do. So my question to you is, how would you, to the 20-year-old professional out there that loves horses and wants to be in the business, how do they find their niche? How do they get where they can be marketable?
Well, that's a really good question. And a lot of times, again, it's just about a little bit of self-infliction. And like you said, concentrate on what you do really well. So if you are really good with Grand Prix horses, then that's what you are going to keep promoting yourself in those venues and grab every Grand Prix ride you can get and make yourself successful, and see if you can get some catch rides for people who have horses that are a little tough or a little hard, things like that. If you're really good at running a riding school, then run a really great riding school, and just keep looking at your connections for how you're going to get in to be an intern. I love interns myself. Intern for somebody and say, hey, I'm just starting out. Can I work for you for a little bit? And even if you've been in the business a few years, you never stop learning. As you know, Jay, too, you know, getting information from another clinician or getting to learn from a trainer higher up in the rankings, absolutely, all day long. Those are opportunities you want to set yourself up for, and then start marketing yourself toward those people, as well as to the public, because you never know when a sponsor is going to come up to you and say, hey, I'm a new saddle sponsor and I want to give you free saddles and I want to do some advertising with your name on it and all of that. That all has to do with, again, that perception and how you're putting yourself out there and how others are seeing you. If someone's seeing you working really hard and being a successful young instructor, you could get all kinds of opportunities for people to, you know, hey, let's do an article about you. You're really interested, or, you know, we want to sponsor you and give you some free boots, and will you do some posting for us? And it can lead to all different things.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I'm sure there's some people saying, well, how does that apply to me? Well, I can, part of it is how you use the social media. For instance, last week, my daughter, who is a junior rider, got 2 sponsors through social media. And just because she runs a really good Instagram, and they reached out to her, and actually they both contacted her on the same day and said, you know, bang, bang. And all of a sudden she had 2 additional sponsors to her. And that's only, I mean, it's partly because of her show ring presence, but it's 99% about of her social media presence. So I think, you know, that's today's world. And, you know, maybe instead of riding 15 horses a day, you ride 12 horses a day. And those last 2 hours you spend working on your marketing.
But you made a good point there, Jay, that, you know, they picked up versus what was on her social media, which is kind of leading us into perfectly our next category, which we wanted to talk a little bit about social media. And it is such a powerful force out there now, and so much marketing is getting done on it. It's a little overwhelming for most people because, oh, there's Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and Snapchat, and what should I be on? What should I be doing? And how do I get it all organized? And I think you brought us to a really great topic there about, okay, now how do we take our brand and navigate through the waters of all this social media?
Yes, no, and I would love to know that too. That's exactly why, you know, you're here. And I think, you know, any information you can impart to our viewers is invaluable. No question. Is how do you get seen? And so, you know, you mentioned the point, okay, go work at the top barns and you know, you meet people that way, meet contacts that way. But then this is the other element of is how do you make those contacts online to create opportunities? And what those opportunities are, they could be a job, they could be a horse, they, you know, who knows what opportunities come from it. The more you're out there, the better.
Right.
I think part of it too, though, is keeping going with it. Like you can't just post one and hope that the right person sees it. You know, I bet your daughters have a series of things that they are able to portray on their social media, so they do get noticed in a good way for what they're doing and the things they are promoting with themselves. You know, you just can't put up one, oh, okay, there, I did my Instagram for the month.
Yeah, no, it's like anything else, it's work. You know,
Yeah.
the more you work at it, the more successful you're going to be.
And it's true, social media has changed our world, hasn't it? I mean, we didn't have this when we were younger. I don't know. Well, none of you guys did. But the magic with social media is that it allows us. When I first got into internet marketing, I was told to get out of internet marketing because the place to be for those who loved what they were doing was social media. And I didn't want anything to do with, remember when they were all sharing the tuna sandwiches they had for lunch? So I didn't want anything to do with it, but they kept saying, the gurus kept saying, you've got to go to social media. It's where people go that love what they do. So I started with social media, and it was quite an undertaking because I'd never done anything like it, but it's changed my entire life. And I think the main reason is it's because it has taught me how to communicate to people again. And that's where everything about social media is how you can connect and communicate with people through your posts.
Exactly. And if we can look at the next slide I have, marketing made simple. Okay, there's so much out there. Where do we start? Like Jay said, I think if you just think about the simple who, what, where, when, why, and how, it really will help you focus on where you want to go. So starting with who are you marketing to? Who do you want to attract? If you're an instructor that is running a great riding school, then you want lesson kids. Where are you going to get those lesson kids from? The local schools, the local clubs, the YMCA, the rec department. Those are all places where you can market, in the local paper, things like that. If you're an A show instructor and you're looking for more horse show clients, well, that's a different kind of market you're going to market to. What are their needs? What are their wants? What do they want from an instructor that's going to do that? And how can you fulfill those needs? So that is the who. Who is your market? Who do you want as customers? Who do you want? Then you move on to what. Here we are back to brand. What are you marketing? I'm marketing me. I'm marketing what I do well, whether it's the young horses or the riding school or Grand Prix horses or hunters or equitation, whatever it is. That's my brand. That's what I'm marketing. I am good at this, which is why you should ride with me. And then you go to the where. Where will they see it? Are they going to see it on social media? Are they going to see it in sponsorships? Are they going to see my banner up at the ring? Are they going to see my tack room in the back? Are they going to see my shirt that has my barn name on it and my name on it? Are they going to see a charity donation or an event that I held where all the proceeds went to charity? Where are they going to see my brand? The other part then is when. When is the right time? And that, I think, is the question of all media marketing anywhere. And some of it's a little trial and error. But, you know, when? Now some people are saying, oh, I shouldn't be marketing now. There's nothing I should be doing in this downtime. You know, we aren't horse showing. We aren't doing things. Wrong, wrong, wrong.
Right. The best time to do it. I agree.
Exactly. I have not been slow. Love to say that, but I have been updating websites for clients. I have been fine-tuning their social media. I have been getting some posts ready to go for the future. I have been pre-writing press releases for a clinic that I know they want to hold in August. Okay, can't do it now, but you're going to be busy doing other things when you can be up and running. So right now, let's take care of the press for the clinic that you're going to hold. And I can pre-write it. You can approve it. We can get the photos. We can get all the information. So it's ready to go. All I have to do is hit the send button when it's time for it to go. So a lot of times you just have to, like Jay Duke said a little while ago, you have to make time. Spend those last 2 horses maybe sitting down and saying, what do I need to do this week for my media? Or what do I need to get ahead of? What do I need to work on next? So that you can figure out how to do some of the when. And a lot of these apps now, you can preload things. So in this downtime, you can literally go in and set up 6 months worth of social media posts by scheduling them. So if you've got the time to do it now, sit down, do it now, get some pictures that you've had, say, hey, you know, whether you want to do Throwback Tuesday or, you know, Flashback Friday or, you know, looking ahead.
If I could add to this part again, the biggest thing is when you're sharing these posts is it's an opportunity for you to interact with people. So whenever I post a post, I always think if the other person was sitting across the table from me and I was having a conversation with them, I should be able to read that post like I'm having a conversation instead of it just being an ad. So you want to think about that as you're putting your posts out there, because people, they'll just scroll right by if it's just an ad, right? Right, Brenda?
Right. And we have some tips a little farther along too about what kind of things people for branding and what kind of things are not. Back to the W's too. We're talking about why didn't I get results? You know, I wrote an article which I reposted on my website if anybody would like to go back and look at it, called Equine Marketing 101. And the number one reason I know I've had clients that say, I've tried marketing, it didn't work, I didn't get any results. You know, why didn't it work? Okay, there's a lot of reasons why it didn't work. Did you market to the right audience? The who? What did you market to that audience? Did you market the right product to that audience at the right price? Where did they see it? When did it come out? Are you advertising for Christmas in January? Well, that probably doesn't work too well. You probably need to do that a little differently. The other thing is, you can do as much marketing as you want to, But if you don't follow up on the service end and do what you say you're going to do, it doesn't matter how much marketing you're going to do. If your phone is ringing off the hook or your messages are coming through on Messenger and you don't answer any of them, how are you supposed to get business? So I think following through on some of those things, that you spend the time to market, answer the phone, return phone calls from people who are calling, even if they're maybe not your ideal customer, at least do the courtesy of, okay, I did get 3 phone calls off of that. They maybe weren't quite the right type of client I want, but then that helps you adjust your marketing to say, okay, that didn't work. It worked some, but it didn't work perfectly for me. So how do I tweak it to get it right? And that's a little bit of what marketing is try the different areas and see until you get your niche and find the niche that you really belong in that works really well for you.
Yeah, getting horse professionals to answer the phone, that's harder than getting a horse over a jump that doesn't want to jump it. I mean,
it's crazy.
And it's a well-known thing, and yeah, it's amazing how much business, how many sales are lost that way, because people, they just don't answer the phone and they don't return messages. And so, yeah, my advice to people is exactly do what Brenda says: answer your phone.
And this is also with social media. Excuse me for just a minute while I cut in here. But with the social media, if somebody makes a comment on a post that you share, respond to it.
Exactly.
Like you were saying, right? What you were saying is exactly true, Jay and Brenda. If somebody connects with you, it's your job. They need to feel visible, and the only one that makes them feel visible is you, because they reached out to you.
And what Laura said before too is the consistency. You can't do one post, one press release, one article and think that that's my marketing for the year, and gee, it didn't work for me. I didn't get anybody off of it. The consistency plays a big part in it as well.
Right.
So would you, for that sort of thing, Brenda, would you recommend to people that they do it on their own? Is there a way to do that affordably? Because again, you know, that this is an education, and there's a way to do it, and ways that work and ways that do not. How would you recommend to people to become more proficient at that?
That's a really good question, Jay. And I have clients that are all over the gambit of being really technically savvy to not knowing how to turn on the iPad. So when you say that, I think that sometimes people just need a little help, and sometimes they need a lot of help. Bigger companies want the flux and the flow of, I want to throw out a lot of things and I don't have time to organize them all. So how do I do it? So they're sometimes going to tend to pick the big marketing companies that are retainers, and it can be as much as, you know, $5,000, $6,000 a month as a retainer to get one of those marketing companies. I am not that level, because my market is riding instructors who I know are always on a budget and trying to get to the right markets. So I tend to do things kind of a la carte, I call it, where people can use me when they need to. Like, some people are very good at social media and they can do it themselves. Some people are good at websites, or they have a kid customer that can do their website for them. Great, fine. But I think what to your point, Jay, is, again, you have to look at, what am I good at and what do I need to spend time on? And how many professional speakers have we heard in any industry say that? Dial it off if you're not good at it. I'm terrible at accounting. I would never even try to do my own accounting. I have an accountant. You have a farrier who does your shoes. You have a vet who does some of your vet work and joint injections. You don't do it yourself. You know you want it done, but you don't do it yourself because you're not the expert. So you let the expert do it. So I think it's the same with marketing, Jay, that you really have to take a look at, what do I do well? Okay, I built a website that's 10 years old and maybe it needs updating. And can I do it? Or can my kid, the kid from high school, do it? Or can a college intern want to do credit and fix it for me? Have at it. If you don't have any of those people in your repertoire, then maybe you need to reach out to somebody who can tweak your website for you and say, how much could that be? And it can be anywhere. And I've had sites built for different people using different vendors, anywhere from, you know, $2,000 up to $15,000, depending on how many bells and whistles you need in a website, things like that. So again, I'm going to say, if you think you can do it yourself, first you have to have a plan, which is the last why of the Marketing Made Simple on our list, the how. Make a plan, stick to it, because as Laura said, if you're not consistent, you might as well not do it. Be consistent. and try to stick to it. But that's the hardest thing that I find with my clients is they can all come up with a great plan, but then we get to June, July, August when horse showing's really busy and that plan just went by the wayside. And now they're too busy riding and showing and they're not keeping up with the social media, or, you know, they're not updating their website regularly, things like that. So I think it's just like you said, you've got to know what you're good at and be able to job out what you're not good at.
So we do have a question here. How should you react to someone who react on your post? Just a sentence or like or what? And also, what happens if somebody writes something nasty on a post?
Oh, Randy, you have a lot of experience in this. You get a lot of people to talk back and forth on your post. What would you suggest?
Well, I've spent many years learning how to do this. So how would I react to someone who reacts on your post? Depends on who it is. Do you
like it or put a sentence or two?
I always, every comment that I get, you know, I have 7 business pages on Facebook, plus I'm on LinkedIn and stuff. Every comment that anybody makes, I always love it because people love the comment love. Every time I love a comment that's a response to something, it makes them feel visible. Let's see. So what was the next question after that?
What if people say rude stuff?
Well,
what do you do about it?
Because I have some pages that get people that get a little, what's the word, critical, like dressage instructors and jumping instructors. So I have a rule, no negativity. And it's very clear. If there's any negativity or bullying, I either block them or delete their post immediately. And now, especially with the dressage and the jumping instructors and the Ladies Horse Society, these people are trained. They know I will not accept any negativity or bullying at all on the page. They can go somewhere else because there's so many other pages and groups that allow it. I don't.
No time for that.
Nope, no time for it. What was that question you put up?
I agree. And I say the more that you can respond, and if you can write a 2 or 3 word, yeah, I totally agree, or been there, you know, they just want to be recognized. And
they want you to respond like you were saying, Brenda, you respond to them, and then I'll add a question if I want more interaction, because that's what puts us to the top of the news feed. So if they respond, I respond and try to get to draw that out of the, you know, if that was my goal at this level, I don't have as much time to do that. But for most of you who are just starting and learning how to use social media and stuff, it's all about the connections you make and how you can get people to interact with you on the post that they share. And I'm, like I said before about deleting, I'm comfortable deleting a whole post if I need to.
Yeah. And on that, that's a perfect lead into, okay, what do I put on social media? How am I going to do it? What kind of things should I think about? And one of the things I do in my training sessions for these young riders coming up is think of yourself as you want to get sponsors. So what kind of sponsors would you like to get and who would they be looking for? So for example, I suggest that they keep their personal pages with their silly photos and all that stuff on somewhere where a media person can't find it, or a job interviewer or somebody can't find it. And then your brand page, I should be able to find you, because the other thing about being on social media is I'm a media person. If I'm at an event, I see you win a class, I want to interview you. I miss you at the gate when you're running back to the barn or running to another ring. I'm going to try to look at you on social media and send you a message and say, hey, love to interview you. Where can I meet up with you? So if I can't find you, you could miss an opportunity for someone to contact you, whether it's for a lesson or a training session or a clinic or an interview. So I think that's very important. But it has to establish your brand, as Jay was talking about earlier. What do you do well? And that's what should be the page. So when I look at some of these kids' pages, the ones that are horses, 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 dog, horses, dog, horses, dog, horses, dog, those are winners, because it's very clear to me what that person's intent is, what their interests are, and what they're good at, what their passion is. If I'm looking at a young rider and I see bikini, beach photos, party with the friends photo, goofy photos, silly face photos, all of that,
politics,
as a sponsor,
religion.
that's not
religion, right?
That's not someone I want to pick to represent my brand.
Mm-mm.
So I think those kind of things are really important. So I encourage them to go through their social media and get rid of that garbage, or make yourself a separate secret account. Some kids use their middle name, you know, however you want to do it so that only your friends can see that. That's great. But you don't need the general public to see all of that.
So we have a message here. I just want to read this from Tony, who says, I've tried to book sessions in Portland as I was planning to be in that area, but no reply by phone or email. You're left hanging and begin wondering about their client-barn relationships. A simple one-liner would have been appreciated. So that's getting, you know, the follow-up and follow-through, and part of what their brand is if they don't answer their phone, they don't get back to you, is that going to be part of their brand? And you don't want to be a part of that. So like he says, a simple one-liner would have been appreciated to say, can't follow up with you right now, but we're looking forward to seeing you. So same sort of thing. That's just a professional attitude.
Back with the consistency on the posting too, you know, be consistent with your hashtags and slogans. Keep it short and to the point. I don't need a whole novel, because not everybody's going to click and read your whole novel about how you're feeling today. You know, make it brief, because you know you're scrolling through and you're going to click it, read. If it's really interesting, you might click on it and read a little more. But if it's a whole long page, you're going to be like, yeah, move on to the next one. And a picture is worth 1,000 words, good or bad. I emphasize that so much because, you know, if you are going to say, I am the greatest trainer of young horses, and you have a photo up of a young horse that looks horrible, its coat is bad, it's dirty, it's muddy, your tack is filthy, everything, people are like, whoa, okay, I don't want my horse to look like that.
Exactly.
Right.
So I think those are all things to keep in mind when you're posting. And when we move on to the next slide too, some ideas of, it's not always about the ribbons. I mean, one thing that I find irritating is when people are only posting when they win. Won this, won that, won this, won that, won this, won that. Okay, great. I get that. But what else is there to you? It's not just always about the ribbons.
Yes. So let's get on to the next topic here. And that is how to promote your business with press releases and writing articles. So that's a couple other ways, not just with social media, but also you can write articles and also press releases. So how would you go about getting a press release done? Do you write it yourself? And what should be included in it, let's say?
Press releases are a great opportunity. And I think press releases and articles, magazine articles, any of those, I think what people really need to know that I find they don't know is it's pay to play. There are a few magazines right now that still don't sell their cover and they keep it to promote their editorial content, but many of them, you pay for the cover. So when your friend is on the cover of the magazine and you think, how did she get a cover and I didn't? Somebody paid for the cover. So you have to put some money into some of that exposure, and magazine covers and articles can be very expensive. Sometimes they run a special or a deal, but you can literally pay $6,000 to $10,000 for a magazine cover if you want the cover in an editorial article.
So I have a question about this. I always thought that that was a decision made by the magazine people to promote the articles that were inside it, but you're telling me it's like an advertising spot now.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. So basically, when you are going to put a press release out, for example, I have some clients that use me quarterly. I have some clients that use me when they go to events where there is no press and put out a press release. So for example, Brownland doesn't have a media company that promotes Brownland. So I have a couple clients that go and they're very successful in the Grand Prix there, and they want people to know they won the Grand Prix. So on the drive home, they're calling me on the phone saying, hey, I need a press release. I was first and second in the Prix this week. Great. They give me the info, get a few photos from the photographer. I write it because I'm the expert at writing it. I put the photos in, and then it can go out on my marketing platform. And press releases, so all these media companies have connections with other medias, magazines, online publications, our own email lists, everything like that, where it can go out to that community. And again, it's about consistency, like Laura said, exposure. The more people see you, the more they're going to think of you when they need to do business with somebody.
So a question on that, because I hear from media people all the time about everything you're saying. I've heard that a lot. How, and I think I know you just answered, but I want to push you on this a little bit. How does that turn into actual revenue and dollars for a person like, so let's say you put out, a press release, I don't know, one a month or whatever it happens to be that you would recommend. How does that actually, in a solid form, in a form of money, help that trainer to become more successful? Like what would you say to that person? Because again, I've been told that too. Well, we have to do this press release and that press release, and then I'm like, okay, great. But then I'm like, well, okay, what do I get back from that? Other than exposure. That's great, you get exposure, but I actually want to make more money off of doing this. How do I do that?
Again, that's a great question, and could take a lot of pieces and parts to it. But basically what you're talking about is, first, when you're doing these press releases and articles, you need to look really hard at the who is the market for that magazine, and is that my market? And what is that costing me, so that you can figure out what your return on investment is. If it's a better idea for you to put out a press release for less money to a smaller but appropriate target market that you want to get more clinics from, then that would be more ideal than paying $10,000 and getting a cover on this other publication that's probably not my market. That's really junior riders, and that's not my target market.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's not like products where we have a service that we're promoting. Products are easier to follow because you can put out certain specials with the tag and you get sold so many widgets off of your press release. You can say, oh, great, I sold 12 widgets off that press release. It worked in that segment, in that time, whatever, it worked great. With the service, it's a little harder because it's hard to measure that feedback. But I think what you have to do is think about the exposure, what the cost is, and are you getting to the market that you could get potential business from? And if you get one clinic from that potential business, is that worth the investment of the press releases? If you get 2 clinics, is that worth the investment of the press releases?
And there are different venues that you can use press releases. Thank you for bringing that up, Brenda. And one of those that a lot of us know about in the horse industry is called the American Horse Publications. And you join there, it's, your business and the other memberships. But so, for example, I get 2 press releases a month that I can send out. And what I've realized is they may not be included in their publications, but all the people in the media see those press releases and they remember what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with when I meet them later, which I thought originally that press releases were let the whole rest of the world, know what's happening. But then I realized is that little media community, as you know, Brenda, they're pretty close knit.
Yes.
And I have had more exposure just from being a member of, for example, the American Horse Publications with those press releases than I would have with many things, because it's given me recognition I wouldn't have had otherwise. So what other avenues are there for people? The normal person who wants to do a press release is going to do it locally, right?
Yes.
So
I have a question on the press releases. What things do you include in your press release? If I am an instructor in the area and I want to get more business, do I write a press release to my local paper and say, did a clinic and it was really good and now I'm going to do some more? Or what types of things do you include in it?
Again, going back to what Jay said earlier, what do you do best and who do you want as clients? So I think if you keep those in mind and you're a great local riding instructor and you have a riding school that is unbelievable and you do 70 lessons a week and have schooling shows and clinics and whatever you want to do at your riding school, to think about that market. And yes, the local paper is underutilized in my opinion. And it's so easy now to get a digital article in the local paper now, but it has to be something that's of interest. So if it's, say one of your kids went to the finals and won, oh, that's local interest. Put that out there for sure. Let the whole community know you produced a winner and this kid from the local community who rides with you won the finals. That's great.
It's
Go ahead.
It's human interest, like you were saying. People
Exactly.
want to know.
Another interest, like some of the press releases I've been putting out during this time of COVID, is I had an instructor that was helping donate to charity and doing various things and supporting her customers that went and bought a gift certificate or had dinner out at a local business. She would give them a free lesson on their board bill, or would donate for a challenge, would donate $25 to the Horsemen's Relief Fund for doing things. So press is actually the most effective when it's not just about you, and charities are a great way to get hooked up, because if you hook up with a charity event, now you've got the charity backing you, and the charity can bring a whole nother avenue of press to you and recognition in the local paper, and they can pay for it because they have the community connections because of the charity. So it's never a bad idea to get hooked up with the charity and figure out what kind of things you can do with the charity. Plus, it's a great PR move because now you've just raised yourself up, and you are not just about me making money. You are about, what am I doing for the community? And people look at that and go, oh my gosh, isn't she wonderful? I want to ride with her.
I just put this question up here, and I think you've pretty much answered it. Thank you for the question or comment, Diane. Do professionals need to have brands or charities or be known for other aspects other than winning at the shows? So I think you just kind of covered that off, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What about, Brenda, what about board advertising at horse shows? You see quite a bit of that, banners and boards up at shows. Is that something that is effective or people should be looking at, or is that more just for big business?
I think that if you're not living up to what your brand is, you're not dressing the dress and walking the walk and talking the talk, that it doesn't matter what kind of sign you have put up on your tech room. I think that we go back again to the branding, and if you want customers, you have to act like you want customers. And I'm not saying go around and say, hi, everybody want to ride at my barn. I mean, it's the way that you work day to day, the way you work with your customers, and people are going to notice that at the horse show and see that. And then with the other promotions you do with it, say you sponsor a breakfast. Those are cheap to do at a horse show. Coffee and donuts. Go to the horse show manager and say, hey, I'd love to sponsor a breakfast. And they're going to be like, whew, bring it on. You give them a couple $100 and they put a spread out with your name on it. And everybody that goes and has a cup of coffee in the morning sees your name sponsored by so-and-so. And they'll say, hey, thanks for the cup of coffee today. Again, a great PR move. It's subtle advertising. So you're out there putting your name out there, but you're giving back. So those kind of opportunities and sponsorships, I think, are the amazing thing. I myself sponsor a Chicago Equestrian Hunter Derby at the local rated B shows at Ledges Sporting Horses with Showplace Productions, and have for 4 years now. It's a 2'6" hunter derby, 2-foot hunter derby for kids just starting out that wouldn't be able to ever ride in a derby because they'll never have anything better than a B horse to ride, or they're just starting out. And so it gives them an opportunity to do it. And my name's on the class, so it goes out in the prize list, and I give them some sponsorship money, or I give prizes, or I give bonuses, or work it in different ways so that my name is still out there, but I'm doing something for the community as well.
Excellent. That's an excellent answer, and you're right. Sometimes you got to think outside the box a little bit and create those opportunities. And I think those are some super suggestions which don't require a lot of work or a lot of money, which I think, again, everyone's overworked and not making enough money. So we need those tips.
We need them. And during this time, especially, the secret to our success is by, we're promoting ourselves, but what we've all learned is by promoting other people as part of promoting ourselves, we'll go even further because together we make a difference for each other.
Exactly.
So we're getting down to the wire here, Brenda. We do have another topic here we'd like to get discussed as taking the next steps, interviews and press conferences. So that would be the next step. This doesn't often happen at the regional level or local level, but once you get to the upper levels, it certainly happens a lot. And could you explain to us a little bit more of what needs to happen?
I think sometimes people are afraid of interviews, and I think they need to look at it as it's really an opportunity to promote your brand, to let people know who you are and what you stand for. And it can be in different forms, like you said, sometimes they're not at the local horse shows, but sometimes they are. And sometimes they have editors or interns out there looking for stories or looking for something, and they happen to stumble across you because you have a great story, or your trainer has a great message, or you took a rescue horse and won a class with it. There's always a place for some of those. So if you get the opportunity for an interview, don't be afraid of it. But use it to get your brand and your message across. Like, for example, if you're an instructor and you've won a class at the horse show, or one of your riders has won a class, and the interviewer comes up and says, hey, congratulations, tell me a little something. One of the things that I find as a media person is when I have to drag information out of them. Tell me something. I don't know that your horse was a rescue horse. Tell me that. Say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited today. My rescue horse that I saved when he was 5 now just went on and won this class. Well, there's my story. So then I'm going to be able to ask you questions that are going to be related to that. And there's my story. Young kids, I find very difficult to interview sometimes because you get those wonderful one-word answers that parents hate. Yes, no, yes. No, you're not telling me anything. You're not helping me with my story. So I think when you get an interview, I really like people to think of it more as, I'm not badgering you with questions, but let's have a conversation. Tell me your story. How did you get to win this class today? What kind of work have you done to get there? And why is it significant for you to win today? So I think that's my number one tip for if you get an interview opportunity, tell me something. Give me a story. We can go on and on with more details. And if you're interested more, because I know we're running low on time, feel free to contact me at Marketing for Equestrians, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Say you saw it on Jumping Instructors Live, and I'm happy to help anybody out because of this promotion. And I'm really grateful that I got the opportunity to do this and let people know a little bit more about what they can do with marketing and media. But it can also get very detailed and a lot of avenues to go through. When we do the clinics with young riders, we actually teach them a lot more about how to answer press conferences. For example, if the event is sponsored by Rolex, you don't show up for the press conference in your Longines baseball hat. I mean, simple things like that, thinking about who the sponsors are, thanking the sponsors. This slide is really a good slide. It's 5 points to always hit in an interview. And number one is always thank your owners and the event sponsors. Thank you to my trainer or your team if you are the trainer. Thanks to my team. I couldn't do it without you. Recognize some of your sponsors. If you're one of those riders that has a list of 800 sponsors, you're not going to do that individually. Do it in general. Thank you to my sponsors who have supported me getting to this point. My horse is phenomenal. Couldn't do it without it. Just kind of always highlight the positives. And those are the main things is to, again, you're thinking about your PR. You want to appear to be gracious and you want to appear to be very thankful. When you look at, say, if you go to Spruce Meadows website and look at some of the interviews from their riders, they're second to none. I mean, just thank you to the sponsors. Thank you for putting up the money for this. It's just an amazing way they do it up there in Canada. And I have to say, we should have a little more of that in the United States, but we're getting better at it. Those are great points to always hit when you're at a press conference or doing an interview. Make sure that you thank the people who got you there, because it just makes you look all the better for getting there.
Yeah, Brenda, I just want to touch on that. This is very important, and this is very important for all levels of riders. I know myself, growing up riding at Spruce Meadows, we were taught, Mr. Ron Southern, who was an amazing individual and ambassador for the sport, and the sport certainly misses him greatly. He would teach us. He would teach us how to talk to the sponsors and how to do that, and it was a top priority. And I can assure you, if you're picking up, your ribbon in the 2'3" hunter ring, cross rail ring, whatever it is, take that moment and thank that person for the ribbon and whatever it is. And that really reflects. And then it reflects as you go along too, then with horse owners and sponsors as you get a little bit older, because then, they're looking for that engagement. So those tips there, that really brings me back, and the lessons that Mr. Southern, taught me personally. But that was for everybody. He would just say, look, people, here's how you're going to do it. And here's the right way to do it. And that's part of the reason Spruce Meadows, is what it has become, which is, world-class event center. And it's well known for the grace and gratitude that all the riders there have for the privilege of being able to horse show, which is what it is.
Exactly. And I think as kids are being able to now qualify for these zone championships, like you said, Laura, not till they get kind of to the upper levels, but now they're bringing those championships to the zone and the regions, that these kids have opportunities for interviews and get sponsors and to move up and improve their game. And I was explaining earlier when we were off the air that often barns will hire me to come in if they have a lot of young riders that are going to be moving up into the ranks, to go over these interview skills. And we work on exercises for their interviews and press conferences so that they know these top points and know what to say, because otherwise we know teenagers can give you those one-word answers. And, when you're up in front of hundreds of people and they're saying, oh, what do you have to say for your win today? And they say, it was great, thanks. You'd like to have them say a little bit more and represent their team and represent their country a little bit better. So it's an important part.
I appreciate thank you very much, Brenda. And I appreciate what you say, Jay, about thanking sponsors. And I think it's really important that we start at the very entry level. And I like what you say, that they said it doesn't matter if you were doing the 2'3" hunters or the Grand Prix, you were expected to say thank you. And I think it's really important that we, as coaches that we show the competitors or students of how to graciously accept a ribbon, whether it's
all about good sportsmanship, right?
It's so important, because sometimes they just go in and get the ribbon and leave, and without anything, they just kind of expecting it. And I think it's really important, as a person who has sponsored classes, that they just not put their hand out and take the ribbon. I say, okay, you're going to shake my hand, and this is how we're going to do it. So I kind of take that time to show people how to do that too. We do have a comment from Tony again. Tony sounds like he's from Ottawa, Ontario. Will we be able to review this excellent discussion? Yes, you will be. And it is going to be on the Facebook page where you come in from. If so, how would we gain access? It's going to be on the post and the page that you are accessing it from right now. Ontario, Canada. I'm from Ottawa. Canada Barns will reopen tomorrow. So we are reopening.
Yay.
Yay, 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 yay. And now we do have to wind things up here a little bit. And so, Randi, do you have time to put a little blurb in for what's happening
Well,
this
first,
week?
I'd like to thank Brenda. This has been amazing. As you both know, Jay and Laura, marketing is very important to everything that I do. And to have you come in here has been such an honor, Brenda, for you to explore things and discuss the possibilities of what people can do with them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Much,
My
Brenda.
pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank
Yep.
you.
Now we have more shows that are coming up this week. On Monday, we have Jay. Do you want to tell everybody about the Jay Duke show that you'll be doing?
This Monday evening at 7:30 East, 4:30 Pacific time. We have From Grassroots to Greatness. I'm going to be interviewing Joey Gatlin and Morley Abbey. They run the Oaks in San Juan Capistrano, and it's a wonderful story, because so many people in this sport think, oh, you need to be rich or millionaires or billionaires to be successful. And I'm going to be interviewing two people that they run the top barn in California, and then they're very, very successful. And they got there through a lot of hard work. And it's a great, great story. And I hope you join us.
All right. And Laura, you're doing a show this Wednesday on your, let me see if I can get this right, the Riding Position Fix It show.
Yeah, that's right. So the Riding Position Fix It show, we have special guest this week is Jenny Paisley, who is a USEF large R hunter, jumper, equitation, hunter breeding judge, and she's going to be coming on with my co-host and myself. My co-host, Paddy Downing-Nyegard, who is also a USEF large R judge, and we are going to be reviewing positions and giving exercises to riders so they can improve their riding and have some other discussions. And then the following week, we're having Anne Thal, who's the Associate Director of Oldfield School, coming on with us to discuss more riding. I mean, we could discuss riding all afternoon, but unfortunately, we only have an hour. So
that's right.
They sound like great shows.
And then next
it's
Monday,
really good, very popular. And Randi, what's happening on Monday?
On Monday, we've got, and this is Paddy Downing-Nyegard turns us on to so many great guests, and a lot of you do, Diane Carney. But Chance, if I can get this last name right,
Arkelian.
Chance Arkelian. Everybody knows him. He's like one of the more sought after judges in the hunter jumper world right now. He's going to be our special guest on Monday. So come on over and see why everybody's so excited about what we're doing, because we would like you to be a part of the progress too. And in the meantime, thank you so much again, Brenda. We appreciate you coming in. And everybody, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you on the other side of the fence. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing, Brenda?
Start building your brands. I'll be watching.
Woohoo! Laura?
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Brenda.
having me.
And yes, and thank you so much for being here. And tune in on Monday at 1, Monday at 7:30, and Wednesday at 1 Eastern.
Anything you'd like to add, Jay?
See you Monday night.
All right, you guys, take care. It's great to see you again. We're doing this for you. We want to make a difference for you during this time because you've made a difference for so many of us. In the meantime, take care. We'll see you at the next show at Jumping Instructors Network. Well, wait, we're doing more of them. We're doing it from so many pages now, from dressage instructors. We're doing it from how to market your horse business. What's the name of your page, Laura?
It's
YouTube
the YouTube Laura Kelland-May. Yeah.
And
on my YouTube, and Equivault for Jay.
Jay is doing Equivault. And you'll find more of that information in the comments below. In the meantime, we'll see you later. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks.